Another area in which we've had some success is in congestion pricing, where we have a series of, or a system of roadways that are only for high occupancy of vehicles containing 2 or more persons. These are often severely underused because we have so many solo drivers, and we've begun allowing solo drivers to drive on these special lanes if they pay a toll. We have dynamic pricing in San Diego where the toll changes every 6 minutes depending on the level of congestion to make sure that the speed does not decline below the most efficient speed. And we have a very finely tuned schedule of congestion tolls in Orange County. Here's an example of the tolls that drivers face. I don't know if you could read them, but the tolls are higher on Friday afternoon than they're earlier. The peak toll is earlier on Friday afternoon, suggesting that people are going home from work early. But the toll jumps from, say, on the eastbound lane there from 4:25 at 2 o'clock to 8:50 at 3 o'clock. And the tolls are set every few months to make sure that the lanes are never congested. If there's more demand, the only thing that happens is that the price goes up. And these prices are changed every few months as demand increases or decreases. Connecting this to greenhouse gas emissions, that we've at the University of California, we've equipped cars with pollution monitoring equipment as though the exhaust pipe goes into the car and is analyzed. And we relate this to the travel of the cars with global positioning systems, second by second how fast the car is going and whether it's accelerating or decelerating. So we know the greenhouse gas emissions in each kind of traffic. Here's just an example of showing how the greenhouse gas emissions CO2 in grams per mile are very high at low speeds. So when the roads are very congested and traveling slowly, you're producing a lot of greenhouse gas emissions per mile. And then at high speeds, when there's a lot of wind resistance, you're also increasing GHG emissions. So you would like to keep the speed at a steady level in the mid-range. So here's a graph showing what is the effect. The blue line shows the effect of speed on GHG emissions, and the red dotted line shows what is the effect of having that speed in congested traffic with a lot of acceleration and deceleration. So if you could use congestion pricing to smooth the traffic flow and keep the speed at a moderately high level, you can reduce GHG emissions with no cost imposed on the drivers. Well, there are a number of regulations that I won't talk about, but I will like to talk about regulations relating to parking. Now, most people don't think of parking as something that's related to GHG emissions, but I think that parking policies greatly affect greenhouse gas emissions. It's a very important issue, and I think in an audience this large, some of you were probably even conceived in a parked car. One of these regulations from California that has not spread as far as I would like is the parking cash-out law enacted in 1992, which requires that employers who offer employees free parking if they drive to work have to offer them the cash value of the free parking if they do not drive to work. So if you ride the bus or ride a bicycle or walk, you should get the same subsidy as if you drove. Because employer-paid parking, which I know some of you probably receive in this room, that the employer is telling you, I'll give you a parking subsidy if you drive to work, and I won't give you anything if you don't drive to work. That's the most common fringe benefit in the United States. You can have free parking or nothing. And it's a tax-exempt fringe benefit as well. So California says, well, you can't make this offer, free parking or nothing. You have to say free parking or cash, and it's only for parking spaces that the employer rents. So if an employee takes the cash, the employer saves on the cost of the parking. It's only for firms of more than 50 employees. So free parking now has an opportunity cost. If you take the parking, you don't get the cash. When this offer is made, some people decide to take the cash. Here's the results of a study of 1,700 employees who were offered cash, and you can see that the red bar is what happened when they were offered free parking or nothing, and the green bar is what happened when they were offered free parking or its cash value. And most of the drivers switched to carpools rather than to the bus. So this can work where there is not good mass transit, not good public transit. The biggest unused resource in the United States, and I suspect in most countries, is all the empty seats in cars on the way to work. Well, this is in a context of a state, much of which looks like this. This is Silicon Valley. Everybody has heard of Silicon Valley, and the more you know about it, the more you know the traffic is terrible and the air pollution is awful and the housing prices are very high. How do we get out of this mess that we've put ourselves into? And I think we have terrific opportunities. I think I've recommended 3 reforms, and a number of cities have been adopting them, is charge the right price for curb parking, by which I mean a price that will lead to 1 or 2 vacant spaces on every block. So those parking will perform well. Wherever you go someplace, when you get to your destination, you'll see a vacant space ready for you to park in. It won't be free, but it'll be the lowest price the city can charge to guarantee you a space. The political solution to make this popular has been to return the meter revenue to the neighborhoods that generate it. And that makes residents and merchants happy to have it. For example, they use meter money to remove graffiti every night in some cities. It's up to the neighborhood what they want. Do they want extra police? Do they want extra sidewalk cleaning? Some cities use the meter money to offer a free public transit pass to everybody who works in the area. Some cities used it to offer a free public transit pass to everybody who lives in the area, so that the drivers, when they pay for this convenient parking, they're also paying a subsidy to people who don't drive. And then I suggest that you reduce off-street parking requirements, which are less common here, that we require a lot of off-street parking at every development. And I think that we should not do this. Here's what San Francisco is doing to implement this policy. Here's the kind of prices that they're talking about. The price will vary by the time of day and even for the length of your stay. That it won't be when you go to the meter, the price is always the same. Sometimes it will be $3.50 for the first hour. Sometimes it will be $1 for the first hour. But that's what it takes to create a few vacancies. And here's what they think is what they're aiming for, because they're doing this. They have a lot of nice graphics that some blocks have no vacancies, other blocks have 2 or 3. If they get the prices right, they'll find 1 or 2 vacant spaces everywhere in the city. No matter where you go, you'll always see 1 or 2 vacant spaces available.